Hey, this is John, back with a figure review, and this is kind of a new one for me. This is the Imperial EVO Trooper on the 30th anniversary card. This is not a figure I'm going to get graded. You know, as you saw in my previous video, I deal mainly with professionally graded figures, but I have a ridiculous slanted wall that at some point I'll show you with G.I. Joes and Star Wars figures that I keep in these star cases. I didn't know what to do with that space, and it was just a gigantic slanted wall that was very blank, and it's in my man cave. And I just decided to go ahead and get a bunch of clamshells, and some of my figures that I've had stored in my office were just sitting there. So I was like, well, let's make it a wall of figures. So I ended up taking off one of them because I'm going to get it graded, and you know, because now there's a blank spot, I have OCD like crazy. So I was like, well, I better get one more to put up there. And so this is the one I got. It was very inexpensive. You know, these 30th anniversary figures in general, unless you're dealing with some very hard to find figures, are very easy to pick up. This one was about $10, but I just loved it because it's kind of a unique trooper that, you know, is not really covered in the films, but you know, I suppose he could be in the some of the extended, or excuse me, the expanded universe novels, but I don't remember them from the ones I've read. But anyway, this is the Imperial EVO Trooper. It's just a really cool design to him. As you can see, it's got the exclusive cheat code inside for the Star Wars Force Unleashed. So this was, let's see, it came out in 2007. So I mean, even this one is now 11 years old, which is crazy. But you know, these just have not appreciated, just given the volume with which Hasbro has kind of released some of these. But anyway, I picked him up just to add to my wall. I've got a few other 30th anniversary ones that this will match with nicely. But as you can see, just a really cool design. I love the hoses coming off the helmet. The orange boots are really cool. It's got the backpack, twin pistols, as well as the shard blaster. So that, you know, this was for the tie-in to the video game, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. PlayStation 3 games, Force Unleashed. It's hard to say. I have not played the one. I played the Force Unleashed 2, which was okay. It was kind of bland. The story was kind of bland, but I did not play the first one. But anyway, you know, the figure itself is just really cool, though. I love the details on it. You know, it's got a really nice sculpting to it, and he just looks mean. You know, I love the way he looks. Let's see what it says about him on the back. Trained to survive the galaxy's most treacherous weather conditions, EVO Troopers are equipped with enhanced armor that can deal with hazards such as extreme heat, acid rivers, and lightning. Each EVO Trooper's FA-3 flechette launcher fires shards of metal capable of hitting multiple targets. So he fires basically some kind of, you know, multiple grenade launcher. He's a cloned human. Imperial Heavy Trooper. Weapon of choice is a flechette launcher. I assume I'm saying that right, flechette launcher. It's French. Characteristics, specially trained for combat in hazardous conditions. And it's got a few of the other figures on here. You know, it's got a tri-droid and surgical droid. This is kind of an updated, I guess, an updated version of the... it looks very similar to the original one from Empire Strikes Back. And a few others, just either from the movies or expanded universe. I love that Imperial Shadow Guard figure. That's really cool. Kind of the red Imperial Guard is the typical layout, but he's got a different force pike, and the black outfit's nice. So anyway, just a nice looking figure. You know, it was cheap, and I picked him up, and you know, it's going to remain in the package because it's going to go on my wall. And you know, at some point I'll show you some of the others that I have up there. It's a, you know, I'm guessing there's probably 200 figures up there that are that I just have for decoration to fill up a wall. But this is a perfect example. The reason I got this one is because one of the ones on my wall is one that I'm going to go ahead and get graded. This is one, I actually picked this one up when I was in high school, and it stayed in my mom's closet, or in my closet in my mom's house for all these years, 30 years or so. I think this came out in 95, Power of the Force Boba Fett. And as you can see, the card has just been up, because back then I didn't really know much about taking care of figures or that kind of thing. I picked them up and just threw them in my closet because I love Boba Fett, obviously. And so, you know, if you send in, you can send in some figures still in the package, and let them know and pay for the grading, and they'll actually take it out of the package and grade it as uncirculated. So it's been sitting in a dark closet for, you know, 20 plus years, 23 years now, and you know, the colors on him are still really good. This is not a very expensive figure. There were several variations of this one. This has got the half circles on his hand. There's also a full circle and also no circle variations, depending on which version you picked up. But I've gotten back into the Power of the Force figures. I've got a few coming that I'll share with you at some point. But, you know, these were kind of maligned because they're so bulky. I mean, it looks like he's been taking bovine steroids. It was just, all these figures are, or at least when they originally were released, the Power of the Force 2 figure, I call it the Power of the Force 2 to separate it from the 80s Power of the Force. But, you know, all the figures were gigantic, muscular kind of freaks. And, you know, that was the style back then, you know, with Batman and some of these other superhero figures. And that's been covered in a few other videos that I'll link. But anyway, I've gotten back into the Power of the Force 2 figures, and I decided to go ahead and get this one graded loose. Just because, you know, Boba Fett is one of my favorites, and I think it'll be a cool figure to add to my graded collection. And, you know, it's fairly inexpensive to get the figures graded loose. They'll just, you know, you send it in like this, and they you know, they take it off the card and put it in an acrylic case and grade it. So that'll be a nice one to send off. I'm not going to be sending it off with the others that I sent, or that I showed you in my last video. I've got a separate pile, a smaller pile that I'll share at some point before I send off, probably next month. But, you know, I had this one on my wall. It was the only Power of the Force 2 figure that I had on my wall, and so it didn't really match with some of the others that I had up there. So I decided to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and grade this one. So this EVO Trooper is the replacement to go on the wall, and you know, that wall is pretty cool. I'll show it to you at some point. It's basically all modern G.I. Joes and modern Star Wars figures that are not, you know, valuable enough to get graded, but I think that they look nice, you know, for decoration. So anyway, that's the quick information and review on this figure. I think he's just a really awesome looking figure, and you know, very well designed. And, you know, some of these 30th anniversary figures are just kind of trashy to me, but this one I think it presents really well, and I do like the fact I'm a pretty active video gamer, so having the Force Unleashed figure that was tied to is pretty cool. I don't remember this figure being in the other game, or in part 2 of the series. I guess it could have been, but I don't particularly remember that. So I guess it was in this one. So, and it comes with a cheat code, which, you know, people that use cheat codes I consider a lower life form. I'm just joking, but anyway, very cool figure. Last look at the Imperial EVO Trooper, and you know, I just like the way he looks. I mean, he just looks mean, and he reminds me a little bit of the Mud Troopers that were in the Solo spin-off movie, but you know, a little bit wider armor, but very similar kind of feel to him. So that's the final look. Thanks for watching. Just send ask any questions in the comments below, and I'll have some other videos coming soon.